it's about being intentional about it. What do I actually want? I want to have balance between a career that I enjoy, work that I truly find meaningful. I want to have a happy family life. I want to have time for myself, my family, and for God. So I put all of that together and I became really intentional about what I want out of life in totality, right? And life is actually more than just work.
Hi, I'm Lyn, and welcome to After the Bar. This podcast brings you stories from some of the most accomplished lawyers, former lawyers, and other movers and shakers in the legal industry from around the world. As a former lawyer myself, I've had thousands of coffee chats over the years as a legal recruiter. After the Bar aims to bring some of these conversations to you, giving all of us a glimpse into their world. To receive updates on new episodes, just search my name, Lyn Lee, on LinkedIn and follow me. So today we have a guest who's appearing for the second time on the podcast. She's none other than Lyn Lee from episode 9 of season 1. For those of you who have watched it, Lyn Lee is head of group legal with OCBC, a large regional bank. Not only is she an experienced treasury investment banking lawyer, she speaks regularly in industry conferences and is also a Maxwell certified speaker, coach, and trainer. Lyn is passionate about continuous learning, coaching, and mentoring. Welcome back to the podcast. We had you as a guest on season 1, and thank you again for taking the time to do this.
I'm happy to be back for season 2. Thanks for inviting me, Lyn.
No, thank you. And you shared a lot about mentoring in season 1, and we thought we'll have you back again, and this time to just find out more about you as a person, what success means to you, and dive deeper into your personal journey. So we'll just get started into the question.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, great. So Lyn, in one of your LinkedIn posts, you shared this, and I'm going to read from it. Life is a balancing act. Managing your professional and personal lives is vital to making the most of everything you do. It's really about finding the equilibrium between work and life. So, Lyn, you're so impressive. You're the head of legal of one of the largest teams in Singapore. You wear so many different hats, and you're a mom, wife, mentor, and more. Could you share with our listeners how do you go about finding and maintaining that balance?
Okay, firstly, I want to thank you for your really kind words, Lyn. I never thought of myself as being impressive or successful. What I wanted to do is just do my best at my work, do my best for my family. And I have to say that the motivation and driving force for what I do comes from, in a way, 3 areas. My faith, so God, He has been an important part of my life. Second, my family, of course. And finally, my friends. So I think we all need cheerleaders in our life to cheer us on when we have successes. And we also need friends and family to stand alongside us when we face challenges. So finding that equilibrium is actually about understanding yourself, understanding what you truly want, what you truly desire, what your dreams are, and then going for it, right? Being intentional about living the life that you want. So I have met quite a lot of younger colleagues who just flow along. And I ask them, what do you want to achieve out of the next 3 or 4, 5 years of your life? And they would say, I don't know. And I always thought, actually, it's good not to know. It's good to explore for a while. But after a while, you need to understand what you truly want and strive for it, because that will make you truly happy in what you do.
But what if the question for them and their definition of success is that, you know what, Lyn, I'm perfectly happy to flow along. So because I get that in the sense that, because I have an achiever mindset. So when I see, people who don't exactly know where they're going, I'm like, you gotta figure it out. And truth be told, I'm still unpacking and trying to figure out what exactly is important to me. Because sometimes society imposes a lot of, what success is like. Parents impose, our colleagues, our peers. So I think it sometimes even takes courage to say that, you know what? Actually, I'm fine the way I am. I don't need to achieve a lot of things. So how did you go about unpacking, Lyn, for yourself? You know, because you said about being intentional, but before even that step about knowing what you want, was that something that you knew from the get-go, or like it evolved and you had to refine it?
So it's always an evolution, right? When I was
Mm.
a young lawyer, fresh out of law school, what was my ambition? To make partner in a law firm. Unfortunately, as I mentioned in my first episode, I had a baby, and my husband said, no, that's not going to work for the long term. It's unsustainable to be a M&A lawyer, mergers and acquisitions lawyer for the long term, simply because you're putting in too much hours at your work. You need a more sustainable role. That was when I thought, what else can I do, right? So in a way, I evolved my thinking, and it's about being intentional about it. What do I actually want? I want to have balance between a career that I enjoy, work that I truly find meaningful. I want to have a happy family life. I want to have time for myself, my family, and for God. So I put all of that together, and I became really intentional about what I want out of life in totality, right? And life is actually more than just work. So that's important to me. And back to your definition of success, I have a story to share, right? I think I told you previously about two president scholars from my year, really successful ladies in their own right, but they took really different paths in life. One of them went to become a member of parliament. Another one became a mother of three. She married an American-born Chinese, and she's happily settled in the United States. And who am I to judge who is more successful? I actually think that both of them are really successful in their own right. They are fulfilled, they're contented, they're happy. And it boils down to the two, the fact of what is really important to us, what matters to us. Then find your own success. Do not let others dictate your own definition of success.
I love that so much. I have goosebumps. Not because it's very cold here, but yeah, I feel very inspired. Because you're right, both of them, president scholars, one's a stay-at-home mom and one's a member of parliament. Of course, society will take a certain view, but both are successful. Both are happy, both are contented, and both are contributing members of society.
Yes, that's
So,
right.
Yeah. Okay,
So again, I think I want to emphasize, do not let society or others in your family dictate how you want to define your own success, and be really intentional about finding what truly satisfies you.
Yes. And Lyn, you're also a Maxwell Leadership Team certified speaker. That's a bit of a mouthful. Coach and trainer. You know, and I think, you know, what you just shared, it seems like that contributes to your mindset. What motivated you to get that certification, and how is that helpful in your day-to-day work as a head of legal?
Okay, so when I was a new leader in the workplace, I was managing a small team. I struggled, right, with how to motivate my team members, how to help them grow, and how to ensure that everyone works together, collaborates together, and help the team and one another to shine. So I was reading John Maxwell books at that time, and he has great leadership principles. I learned a lot from him through those books, and that got me motivated to start thinking about, signing up for a certification with the Maxwell leadership team.
Which one is your favorite book? Because I'm reading The Selfless Leader.
Okay, so there are quite a few books that
Yes.
I like. Becoming a Person of Influence, that's interesting.
Okay.
Many communicate but few connect. That is about communication skills. So that's also really interesting.
Oh, I like that. Okay. So I'm personally a big fan of self-diagnosis tools. I've done the Gallup Strengths test, and I know you shared with me that your top 5 Gallup strengths are, if I remember this correctly, maximizer, relator, positivity, which I can see, achiever,
Like
and
you.
yes, and arranger. So which one of these 5 strengths could also be an area of weakness? Because there's also weakness and strength, there's strength and weakness. And actually, could you share, how do we go about leveraging our strengths in the workplace?
So actually, that is Clifton's Strength Finder. It doesn't talk about strength per se. It's what we call talent teams. So what you have listed out are my 5 talent teams.
Oh, 5 talent teams.
So a strength is a talent team becomes a strength when you use it in a positive manner. So we have what we call balcony behavior and basement behavior. So let's take achiever, talent team as an example, right? So you have achiever, I have achiever. So in itself, it can be a huge strength because we are so focused and on planning out our goals, on meeting our objectives and planning next steps, right? So that is really a huge strength because when your bosses pass you a project, say get it done, you have already mapped out the full roadmap in your head and you can really start executing it. But it can also be a weakness. So if you are an overachiever, for example, every single hour of your day, you need to be achieving something, doing something. Where's your time to rest? So achievers do get burnt out. Achievers do lose their sense of purpose if they get burnt out, and they may get lost in the things they want to achieve. Because if you think about it, you only want to achieve if it brings you meaning and satisfaction and purpose in your life. But if executing or doing a particular activity doesn't contribute to your well-being, but yet you still want to achieve it, then that requires a rethink. So an overachiever may actually run into, in a way, issues when they plan their day full of activities simply so that they can satisfy their inner thirst to achieve. Does that make sense? Because I have friends who pack their day.
Yes.
And they never had time to rest. And I worry about them. Yeah.
How about yourself, Lyn? It sounds like it's because you've discovered that along your journey. Did you have to intentionally make time to rest?
Yes, especially during the pandemic. So pandemic was a stressful time for a lot of people. And most of us are just focused on delivering work, right? A lot of people, because I come from the essential services industry, we want to make sure that we can deliver. And you get too absorbed by your work. So I literally had to plan like an hour break. And during that hour break, I will literally tell myself, you need to rest. Either read a book, listen to music, or do something else, but not work. So I intentionally had to schedule that into my calendar as well.
And it's a discipline, I feel. Because even when I have that issue too, because when let's say I'm walking to buy lunch, I would want to listen to a podcast and respond to emails. I want to not waste the time.
We are quite alike that way.
We are. Maybe that's why we get along. So and I saw it in my 6-year-old son, because my 6-year-old son, that day he was just waiting for me to get to the lift and he's like, "You're wasting my time." He said that to me because I was putting on my shoes. Then I made a mental note to myself, like, I shouldn't make him feel like he's wasting my time, because now he's showing that to me. But anyway, I feel and I can totally empathize, because that's what happens to me. Making that discipline to make time for rest is difficult and challenging for someone like
and
me.
I actually learned it from one of the professors that I've actually spoken to, right? He said you should always have time for yourself and for serendipity to happen, right? That's when God can step into your life and maybe he can make some things happen. And sometimes when I'm frustrated with delay, for example, there's a flight delay, pre-COVID when I'm on a business trip, or there's someone says, oh, they're coming later and they cannot deliver certain things on time. And sometimes I take that time and I say, maybe there's a purpose for it. Let's slow down. Think about what else I can do better. Yeah, so I do allow time or buffer time to slow down. I thought that really helps in mental well-being, right? That's also an important buzzword these days. People are really focused on their mental well-being because a lot of people are overworked and stressed given the challenges they face during the pandemic.
I will endeavor to make time for rest for myself. Thanks for inspiring me. So, Lyn, what does success actually look like for you? Because we've spoken about this in episode 9 of season 1. And to most people, you're the epitome of success. You have a successful career, you've reached the pinnacle of success for an in-house head of legal, you manage one of the largest, most successful teams here, and you have varied interests outside of work. I know you were just telling us, Benny and I, that you have your taekwondo.
Yes.
What belt is it?
Second dan.
Second, yeah. So almost instructor level.
No, instructor level is third dan.
Oh, done. Okay. And you know, you're so talented. Thanks for gifting me these like postcards.
I hope you like them.
Yeah, you painted all these, which I mean, I'm so impressed. This is my favorite. So, the question I have for you, not to digress, is what else is on this list you hope to achieve? And you know, you have all these varied interests. Is it on purpose, or is just like
No, it's activities that I want to do,
Yes.
things that I want to learn,
yes,
and I enjoy the learning process. I
Uh-huh.
enjoy, so I enjoy learning new things all the time. So I'm curious, naturally curious about quite a lot of things, including doing this podcast with you. Like
Yes.
we had a fun time planning
Yes.
this, right?
yes.
And I like a lot of variety in my life. So that's me. So that's again being self-aware. And in a way, my achiever mindset also comes in. So if I personally enjoy beautiful art, and it goes on to the next step. Oh, what can I do? Should I learn how to paint? And that came about with all these postcards. And then I have Maximizer. So I happened to be doing fundraising for tree planting last year. So it sparked off this series of postcards. This was the first one. I'm very thankful to
Gorgeous.
my manager who actually donated $800 for tree planting for to get the actual print. The not the actual print, the actual watercolors.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So impressive, Lyn.
No, thanks so much. But it's really not being in. I just think that I won't use the word impressive for myself. Like I said, I'm
I
really
understand.
ordinary. I just enjoy different things, and I try my best to do what I can, and enjoy that process.
I mean, it's a work of art. And
Thank you so much.
You didn't have any professional training. You just
I had definitely a coach. So I have a
Ah.
painting a teacher who used to came. I think she graduated from LaSalle. So I learned, and she's obviously a lot younger. So reverse mentoring again, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So she actually mentored me coming up with the concept. Playing around with the different colors. So I really appreciated her for that.
But, I mean, you have the talent for it.
Oh, I
So-
just enjoyed it. So thank you very much.
Yes. Okay. Lyn, can we talk a little bit about what drives you and keeps you going? Because I mean, we've now heard about you, about your journey in mentoring. We know what success looks like for you. You're very grounded, you're very humble. And personally, I'm very thankful to you. At the beginning of my personal faith journey, this was in 2014, you gifted me with some Christian books, and you shared very insightful stories about your own faith journey. And you answered a lot of probably very ridiculous questions from me back then when I asked you, how do you know, about this and that. So just wondering, because you've mentioned God a few times, how big of an impact has your faith had on all your years of working?
Actually, a lot. So, like every young lawyer, I faced a lot of challenges when I was, graduated from the bar. And it was a self-discovery process. What area of law would I like to do? Or what area would I like to deep dive in? So I did litigation, I did mergers and acquisitions, I did corporate finance. I was actually with the regulators for a short while as well. Before I discovered my passion in the treasury and investment banking world, right? And I never looked back. So throughout it all, I see that God was in a way guiding me. So there were what I call failures. At the time, I thought they were failures, but I realized that they were lessons that God wanted me to learn, so that I could mature and I could grow. And He has a hand in everything, even though I may not see the full picture, but I have trust that He's in control. And like what Jeremiah said, right? He always has the best plans for us. So if you ask me what's my motivation behind doing all the various hobbies and various initiatives I have, it's in a way motivated by my love for God, my love for my family. I think they are my biggest motivation, especially my kids, right? When no matter how frustrated you are at work, you go home, you kiss them, and all the tension just melt away. So at the end of the day, I think we all live for our family. We want to be the best role model we can for our family. And sometimes I think, why do you want to thrive or strive so much? And I sometimes think that I want to do it for my daughter as well. right? She is my role model. She looks up to me as my role model in some ways. And I want to tell her that if you put your mind to it, you can achieve a lot. Yeah.
Wow, that's so moving and beautiful to hear. And thanks for sharing, Lyn, about something that is so personal. Because at the end of the day, we all want what's the best for our kids, and to be able to present the best versions of ourselves. And one of my coaches, Greg Savage, he once told me before, Shulin, whatever you do in the business world, if next time when you're a grandmother and you can look into your children's eyes, your grandchildren's eyes, and tell them exactly what you did and be proud of it,
Yes.
then that's the true hallmark of leaving a legacy.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're doing. So Lyn, can we take you back to your younger self? What is one piece of advice you give to your younger self? Because you mentioned just now, you were on a journey, you were discovering, and and you have done really well for yourself, even though I know you started out on a slightly different trajectory. You wanted to be a partner. So what's one piece of advice you give to 20-year-old Lyn?
Okay, I think smile more, laugh more. I think happiness is really a choice, and we can choose to be happy and joyful in what we do.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's it's not about waiting for like the next car you have or the next house you have before you choose to be happy. I think you can live in the present moment and choose to be happy now. It's having that positive mindset. I think that's really important. It's something I've learned, but I wish I've learned it earlier.
How did you learn it then? Was it through your mentors, coaches, or through your own experience?
Through my own experience. I was facing a really tough time at work, and I had friends who came and spoke to me, and someone actually gave me, one of my good friends actually told me something that I always remember. Your identity should not be tied to your work. You are your own person. You are the CEO of Lyn Inc., right? So think about it. After you retire, you are still the same person. And that has really resonated with me a lot. And that's why I think of my role, whether as a mom, as a wife, in the workplace, I think it as a platform where I can positively impact the people around me as well.
And you have
thank you.
positively
I mean, I
impacted
try
many people's
to.
lives.
Yeah.
Through this podcast, I mean, even for me, we've known each other for over 10 years. I've seen, I've benefited, from every time we've communicated. So you have done that. So I'm actually, I really love seeing this other side to you. So thank you, Lyn. And okay, Lyn, so we're coming to the end of the podcast. How do you see the future for the next generation of lawyers? Because you've interviewed so many lawyers, you've recruited, you've seen lawyers, come and go, and people who have gone to different industries. Are there any tips, insights, or predictions you could share?
So I will actually tell the younger lawyers, pick up skills that lawyers like myself currently do not have. So new themes like digital assets, blockchain, tokenization, sustainability, go learn about them, learn as much as possible, understand about future trends. So you think about it, when I was a young lawyer, my bosses didn't even know how to type. They dictated passages into their dictaphone, and then the secretary types it out. But I didn't learn that skill because that's supposedly old-fashioned, right? I learned to type my own drafts, word process them myself on the computer. And I learned new technology, I learned new trends, I learned what derivatives about, because that was also the buzzword during my time. And for the younger lawyers now, I would say go learn something that you think would put you in a good position 10 years down the line. Invest in yourself.
So it's about continuous learning.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, because some work environments don't encourage that. So I guess sometimes it really falls upon ourselves to seek out our own interest.
I think you have to be responsible for your own learning journey. That's something that, I mean, no one forced me to do art, right? I simply enjoy it, but I learned along the way.
Yes.
So I actually think that you have, again, to be intentional about your own learning journey. What do you want to learn? What do you think would help you to be future ready? That's really important, right? If you were to have crystal ball and you gaze into the future, what skills would you want to pick up? right? How about data analytics? That's also an important area. And if you can marry tech and legal services, I thought that's really powerful.
Yeah, wow, totally. Thanks so much, Lyn. And now that we've heard so much from you, Lyn, before we wrap up the podcast, we like to get to the rapid fire round of questions.
Okay.
So just a few questions. And Lyn, so what are your morning rituals like? How does the first hour of every morning look like for you?
Okay, so I do a little bit of self-care. I do stretching in the morning, 10 minutes. Do 10 minutes of reading because I really enjoy my books. And I try to plan 3 wins for the day. So it can be something really simple, like say take my daughter out for ice cream, or finish this particular report for my boss, or it could even be going for a 20 minutes run. Yeah, so just 3 simple wins for the day, so that after, again, achiever mindset, I think after you done those, you feel like satisfied. Oh, you have achieved something.
Yes. Oh, I'm going to incorporate that 3 wins, sort of like 3 non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, and what is the book you've given most as a gift and why?
Okay, so it really depends on the audience. If I have friends who are new Christians, for example, so I love giving them Max Lucado books. I'm reading a Max Lucado book now called Happiness Happens When You Give. And there is also, for non-Christian friends, there is this book that I really like, How Do You Measure Your Life? I think it was by Christensen Clayton. Yeah, so he's an innovation expert, if I'm not wrong. And he asks really probing questions. How would you want to measure your life? What's your definition of success? Same questions that you have during this podcast.
Wow, okay. And Lyn, what have you changed your mind about in the last few years?
Okay, so this is something interesting I discussed with my daughter last night. And I have to say that when I was a lot younger, I used to think that success and happiness is when you achieve something, or you acquire something, or you get something. But now that I'm a lot older, I think true success and true happiness is when you give and you impact others around you in a very positive manner.
Wow, well said. And thank you so much, Lyn, for your time. Really, really appreciate you making time and, showing a different side to you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Like I said, I really enjoyed this, and I hope that the audience will also, really like your series of podcasts. I want to affirm you, Lyn, for doing this, and for hopefully giving a positive message to all the young lawyers out there as well.
Oh, thank you. Means a lot to me, your words. Thank
You're
you,
most
Lyn.
welcome.
Thank you for your affirmation. So thanks again for your time. And, if you've enjoyed this podcast, then be generous and share it with as many people as you can. Rate it, review it, and follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening. Join us next time to find out what could be in store for us after the bar.